Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Ryan Robinson.
Good evening, everybody. This is Ryan. Wait, hold on. This is my radio broadcaster voice. This is Ryan Robinson talking. Hi.
You did a bit better earlier. I
Yeah,
feel like this one's a little too
it's
nasally.
it's like I to talk like that. You gotta close your throat off like this, so you sound like this.
Now you just sound like Count Dracula.
Blue. I don't know. That's just a voice that I came up with. I'm gonna try incorporating it more into my daily life and see how it works out. So, I'm gonna be field testing it with my wife for the next 3 weeks, nonstop, and we'll see how she receives it.
I mean, so sorry to hear about your divorce in the future.
Sure.
But
Sure.
yeah. So what have you been playing this week? What have you been up to?
Ah,
Besides,
man.
workshopping voices.
I don't know, man. I've been up to quite a bit in the last week. So I actually started playing. I started another playthrough of Final Fantasy 15, and
You missed your boys?
actually, it's funny that you say that because when I loaded the game up, and at the beginning of the game, it should like this the four of them like pushing the car along the road, and then like I'm like listening to their banter, and like I actually caught myself saying, "I missed you guys." Because I didn't realize how much I'd missed them until that moment.
You loved those boys.
Yeah,
We're so happy to see.
they're so great. I love them. So I've been kind of getting into that. Now, this is something that my wife actually has commented on pretty frequently as far as open world or otherwise non-linear games, is that I have a tendency to kind of singularly focus on the current objective that the game has given me and not like doing any kind of exploring. I don't go around opening random boxes or anything like that. But then like, so with Final Fantasy 15, like on this time, I've been kind of doing more of that. Like I've been kind of going more off the beaten path and finding like different pickups and stuff. Now, one of the things I'm excited about is I'm playing the Royal Edition now, because that was one of the games that they gave us for like the PlayStation Plus collection for your PlayStation 5 or whatever. And so I had like the base game, but the Royal Collection comes with all this extra stuff. And one of those things is an accessory that Noctis can wear that makes it so that his friends will now be impervious to friendly fire when he casts spells. That was one of my huge sticking points with Final Fantasy 15. Is every time I use magic, like my friends are gonna get hit with it, and like it bummed me out. So I never used magic ever. But now, like it's not now like I can use magic all I want, and it's like it's not a thing. It's not a problem. But
Hey guys, I learned how to stop hitting you.
yeah, well, like it's weird, right? Because it's a very weird design choice to have all the spells be area of effect spells, because in the fights, like everybody's like just bunched together, like everybody's like in this like very tight small circle, and so everybody when you cast a spell, everybody's getting hit. So, yeah, so
Let's all join in.
yeah, so that's been nice, and also I've we had been Kaylee and I have been playing a lot of Borderlands 3, and we both got the platinum yesterday. So what?
Congrats!
What up?
No one can fuck with you.
Like no one can fuck with us. Actually, it's funny because like okay, so every time we get she and I get the platinum in a game, she always gets the platinum first. Every time. Like without fail. What's funny about this one though is that I've already completed a playthrough of Borderlands 3, like before she and I started playing together. Like we rolled new characters and everything, but I had already done a playthrough of the campaign before she had ever even played the game. And she still got the platinum before I did. So I don't know. But to be fair,
she's better than you. I don't know what to tell you.
to be fair, Actually, there's not. I don't really have a way to say face on that, but yeah. So but it's cool though. It's so most of my time with Borderlands, with any of the Borderlands games, has been like solo. Like every once, like with Borderlands 2, I spent a fair amount of time playing with a couple friends. But most of my time with it was solo. But it's been really cool, like playing through this game with my wife. And one thing I didn't notice before is that the in this one, like the characters kind of comment back and forth to each other, and like give each other props when they do stuff when they do stuff well. So it's a neat thing to see. Um,
I think that they did that some in two, because like my experience has been different than yours. I think that's also for a reason why we have like different conversations when we talk about Borderlands. Like I don't think I've ever played the game solo. If I
yeah,
have, very little of it. I've always played with somebody else.
yeah, and I don't know what it is about games of that type where most like I think it's a lot of the time if I'm playing a game like that in multiplayer, I'm always gonna want it to be with friends. I'm very not into the idea of playing those games with people I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, it's fun to actually like play that game, with someone else and like go through the whole thing and like compare loot with one another. It's a nice little time. I
Because like you also get to use more of the loot too. Because there's so many times like like because there's only like the four roles on there,
yeah
so you're just like, well, I don't need this, but I guess it's like cool or whatever. So it's more exciting because like
yeah
it's like, oh hey, somebody on my team can use it. But I also feel like none of the characters, at least in the first two, I can't speak upon the third. Do I think that they're optimized for solo play?
so there are solo builds for like every character. Um, I kind of tend to go with more multi-purpose builds because I feel like I want to be equally effective playing the game like when perhaps she doesn't feel like playing the game with me or whatever. But and then we've been getting a little bit into some of the DLC stuff, and that's been like there's like one of the characters has a paranormal has a paranormal true crime podcast called Mysterious Lear, and like you just go to different places and like it's always like some kind of murder you have to like some murder that you're having to solve, and she always
A
comments.
murder most foul.
Yeah, and she's like always commenting, and she's like the whole time she's using her true crime podcast voice, and it's very funny. um but and then I've also picked up Ace Combat 7, which is a game that I've had in my collection for a while, but I never really got around to like really playing it because I ended up because I bought it when I was playing Persona 5 Royal, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna play Royal. Like, cause like I was naive, right? Cause I was like, I'm gonna play Royal. I'm gonna finish Royal. I'm gonna be fine. I'll pick up Ace Combat after that, right? I didn't know that finishing Persona 5 would like ruin other games for me for like 2 weeks. And then I just like sunk into this like depression because I was just so sad about because I remember the morning I finished Persona 5 Royal, which I popped that platinum at exactly 7 a.m. on a Saturday because I was up that late. Um, and
Oh,
like
I thought you were up that early.
no, I started at like some point at the previous night, and I was just like playing until 7 a.m. the next morning. And I like after the credits were done, like I crawled into bed, and then Kayla was like, "Oh, I told like Kayla woke up as I got into bed, and I was like, "Hey, I got the platinum." And then she was like, "Hey, good job." And I was just like laying there, with my eyes open for a little bit, and I was just like, "I'm sad." And she was like, "Wow." I was like, "I miss them." uh, and then the next like half an hour to 45 minutes was like her listening to me talk about like how much I miss them and how sad I am that I don't get to see them anymore. And but yeah, Ace Combat 7 is like a really it has me wondering like why there aren't more games where you're flying jets and shooting at other jets, because this game it's just really cool. It's like a really cool feeling. And I played a couple of Ace Combat games before, but I don't know. This one is like really, it's really like the story is like pretty nuts. But like it's just a really cool feeling, like seeing it, like having these jets and like seeing like all these jets like doing all these maneuvers and missiles flying everywhere. It's awesome.
A
Um,
lot of people like. I don't. Not a lot of people. I don't think a lot of like casual fans really like 3D combat because like you also because like I mean most people complain about water levels, most
yeah,
people complain about like anything where you have to like a different maneuverability, and I just don't think there's enough like popular games that are mainstream where people to build up the muscle memory to like see like fight sims and like flight and like flying games as like really an avenue they want to go down because they
yeah,
just like don't know.
yeah. The cool thing though is that Ace Combat has like two control schemes. Like one is more complicated, and the other one is like very simplified and like very like almost
That's a
arcadey.
funny mode.
Yeah, that's it's got a funk. It's not like it's really not a funky mode though because like you still have to like excuse me, the only real difference that I've been able to see between the two control schemes is the way that you turn the plane. Um, I'm not really gonna get into it because I don't know enough about planes to like talk coherently about it, but that's the real main difference.
You can flip that some bitch a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit better.
I'm gonna flip that some bitch. But also I have been spending quite a lot of time learning to code and learning programming. Um,
Ooh, which what are you using? What are you learning?
I'm learning Python at the moment,
That's
uh,
helpful.
and I don't know. I feel like, and this is actually kind of going to feed into the main topic a little bit, but like I don't know. I've been thinking about like kind of like well, it started as like me like thinking like I want a new skill, and I think I want a skill that is like marketable, right? And so it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up and I'm start doing it. But like the more I was doing it, and the more that I was like learning about it and learning the way, like the more I understand like the way code works and um the way like things work in the background on games and stuff, like it has me thinking like maybe I'll see if I can apply it to that. I remember I mentioned this to Tom a few weeks ago, like in conversation. Um, I was like thinking like I was telling him I was like, yeah, I'm gonna learn this and I'm gonna make a little game, and he did this noise. He goes, hmm, hmm. And but I remain undeterred because I think it's one of those things where the more I learn about it, the more fascinated I become. Um,
People tend to like shit on stuff when like you first learning something like, oh, I'm gonna like it may be naive to think that you could ever like that someone can accomplish it with like what the trajectory they're on, but I mean like all you're doing is like shitting on somebody because like what if they do like that excitement of like hey me starting this out could end up here
yeah. Well,
keeps me going with it and keeps you wanting to
like,
reach that goal whether I do or not. I normally like try harder and do more if I have
and
like a goal that I want.
and to be fair, I think that it was I I to be fair, I do tend to be kind of idealistic with a lot of things, and I think he was trying to help me temper my expectations. But that being said, I feel like I'm learning more and like in a very good pace, and like I'm actually working with a really good friend of mine who is he I'm not going to tell you for whom he works, but he's a a lead engineer at one of the at a popular, well-known GPU manufacturer, and he's been teaching me like a lot of shit about like how this works and like answering like basically all my questions about like if I get an error, I'm like, what's this? What's going on here? And then he won't tell me the answer. He'll like talk me through it and and it's been helping me, and it's been like and it's been one of those things where like 4 hours will pass by and I'll be like, oh shit, I gotta go to bed. Because it's one problem after another to solve, and it's really fun like putting those puzzle pieces together. So I've been having a really good
Yeah,
time with
and
it.
having a mentor definitely helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also discovered like this week like how much I actually don't care for unsolicited advice. Like, and I was asking like different people like today. I was like, hey, does unsolicited advice bother you? Because it and like there and like a lot of people were like, it can sometimes, just depends on what I'm talking about. And then, but I was like, but I'm here like, it almost always bothers me because like I don't know, it because I don't know,
I don't
it just bugs me. I don't know,
then.
huh?
I don't know how we are friends then.
Well, like, cause like well, it's one of those things like where like it bugs me, but it's like I'll deal with it. It's not like it's not a huge deal, but like I could do without it, I think.
It also depends on me as well. If I'm
Yeah.
just like, ugh, if I tell somebody like, hey, I just want to vent about like the bad day I had,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I talk about it. That's like if I tell them like, hey, I just want to vent, and instead of them, but if I'm just like, ugh, all this shit's going off at work, and I'm like stressed,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and I'm like vent, and I am venting to somebody, but I didn't like preface like, hey, I just want this, and then give advice. I just take it as like they really care about me, and they don't want me to be stressed and upset, and wants to help me like find avenues for that. So I'm not that way. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just an
Well,
asshole.
well, like the reasonable part of me knows that like that's likely where they're coming from, right? But the unreasonable part of me, which is arguably the larger part of me, doesn't believe that. So, or does not, or just like chooses to completely ignore that. But anyway, Shanae, what are you playing this week?
Um, I think I told you last week or the week before, but my sister restarted her island on Animal Crossing.
Right.
My mom's also starting to get into it too. I think she did the tutorial um today, but so I was thinking about, restarting my island too, just like restart the journey, and like maybe that would get me to like want to play it more consistently. So I was going through my island and I was like, some of this is pretty cute. Forgot how cute this is.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, 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 it's fine. I was like, I'll just give it up. It'll restart it. It'll be all fresh. It'll be fine. And so I'm like, well, I can go over to my sister's island, drop off a bunch of the stuff that I like collected, like
Yeah.
money wise and like other resources. That way I don't do that stupid grinding. So I started clearing out my like 1400 like piece storage. And I realized I don't think I so I realized not, so I chose not to restart my island because I realized that like the hoarding was the problem because I would just like make sure I have one of everything that I've made or found like in my storage. So if I wanted to do something like, hey, I want to make it this like cute camp area, like I don't have to like go and buy or find or build stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the hoarding actually killed it because like I cleared out most of the things that I have. There's like I think I went down to like 200 items from 1400, so it was like a lot. I have so much money. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun getting back into Animal Crossing. I've also really been busy still on that house hunting grind. Anybody else who's looking for houses right now, I'm sorry. It
Yeah.
it sucks right now. And
Yeah.
it's not just like San Antonio, it's like across the US. But like San Antonio is also like really bad. But so we've been like really stressed and trying to do that, and then also finished up Captain America or the Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
and then but I also watched all the Captain America movies, and then I've been watching The Circle season 2. Anybody who's like listening to this and also watches that, great show.
So hold on a second. So I am a huge fan of The Circle season one. I love The Circle, right? I don't necessarily agree.
Tubi.
Yeah, well, sure, but like, um, this season, like, I didn't really make it. I don't think I made it past the first episode because like the the personalities were bothering me. Something fierce. Uh,
You should. This season is so interesting because I also actually even went and got season one, two, three, and the celebrity edition of the UK version because I've already watched the Brazil and France version.
I tried to watch the
But
Brazil version, and like I for some reason I was like I can't. I don't know. Like I was having a hard time.
well, like so with it, they do have to break down a lot of things like about Brazilian millennial culture. So
Yeah.
there was definitely some things I had to like look up. I'm like, all right, they're like, oh, I'm from the north. I'm like, well, what does it mean
What
that
is
you're
that? What
from
is
the
it? What
north?
does that mean? I've never been to Brazil. What does that
So
mean?
like so I had to like go and look up like stereotypes for each region they were from and they
Yeah.
talked about. I was like, okay. Which I do feel like guilty for being like, what's the stereotype of this?
Yeah.
But was it Chloe? Was Chloe what killed it for you? uh but yeah, no, I'm super enjoying season two. And then what else did we also just finished something else up that we were watching. But yeah, I've just been like watching stuff, house hunting, Animal Crossing, Persona 5. I'm now done with Sai's Castle. I think last time I had
Yeah.
talked to y'all like, in depth about the show, I had finished the first portion and then I had to go back.
Right.
So I finished it and I'm up on to the 17th and then you have to do the calling card on the 18th of
Right.
November. So so I saved and stopped right before that. Um Apple mobile games, and yeah, I think that's about it. I've been very busy.
Sure. Um.
Also, like stuff going on with work too, and I just got a promotion, so been in training and like mentally a little bit thin, but I am very excited to finish Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
I want to finish it and talk to you about it.
Just
Prepare to be sad.
just be ready to cry, okay? Because look, so like I like yesterday. I think it was yesterday morning. I was it was either yesterday morning or the day before. I was laying in bed and I was going through Reddit, but like I had music on. I had music on my Spotify and my phone while I was doing that, and I pulled up the end credits theme for Persona 5 Royal, and like I was like, because I was just like, I'm gonna see if I can get through this song without getting choked up. I didn't get through the song without getting choked up, but I did finish the whole song this time. But it's,
Yeah, the finale of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh, I cried. I
yeah,
cried during the finale a couple times.
you know.
But also, that reminds me, I wanted to talk to you about one thing on the show. I don't know if you have you seen the Mortal Kombat movies,
So
the new ones.
I had made plans to try to do that before we recorded tonight, but time kind of got away from me with like cooking dinner and everything. But um,
Uh,
I want your spoiler free thoughts on this film.
I can see why fans of the franchise do not like the movie because I've heard quite a lot of vocal criticism online.
Right.
But as a casual fan of the series, I liked it. I get why people don't like the new character that's added to this one. It's supposed to be like how Johnny Cage used to be like the Watcher insert for it. There's like a new one. So like and he's supposed to be like essentially the vehicle of like this generation like being into these movies.
Right.
So I I don't know. I had a lot of fun watching it. I had a lot
Sure.
of fun
Well,
watching
that's
it.
the point, right?
I think I said it in the text messages, but like similar to things like Guns Akimbo or Crank, where
Yeah.
it's just like really silly. And if you pick at the plot, then yes, it's gonna suck. I do still think that those two movies, plot wise, are probably more solid than the Mortal Kombat movie, which is saying, eh. But it's
I
fun.
don't
I had
know.
so much fun. There's so many times where I was that I just wanted to be like, they did the thing. They did the thing.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know.
And
I think like a lot of people were like, okay, so this is like my stance on movies that are based on existing properties is that I've personally always felt that people tend to be too precious with like the source material. Like fans, I feel like tend to be too precious with the source material, and it just really bothers them when someone else like does something different with that stuff. Like, and it's always comes from a place that like makes me feel like I have to say like, hey, you guys know that like Mortal Kombat still exists, right? And it's not like Mortal Kombat has been awesome the whole time. Like Mortal Kombat has some inconsistencies in the history of that franchise. It's okay for things to be different once in a while, right? But
Yeah, like yes, there's definitely some like uproar about like the new character's name is Cole Young. About like they have issues with Cole Young, like backstory and what his stuff is, because like how like some of them can do special
yeah,
things or whatever. In the movie, they call it Arcana.
like okay, wait. So every special thing that everybody can do is Arcana.
Essentially,
Okay, so Sub Zero's
like
Ice
how
Blast, that's Arcana.
they don't like go into Sub-Zeros. So like Liu Kang, like his whole thing is that like and then what's the fire guy? Fire
Scorpion,
the one that no, he's on like the in the old Mortal Kombat movie, he's like nice, and then he's like nice in this one too.
old fire guy.
Not old fire guy. He's in the old movies. He's young. He's like the same age as like the main characters in those
Raiden,
movies. No, fire. He does fire. He shoots fire.
Liu Kang.
Is that Liu Kang?
Yeah,
Who's the guy with the hat? Who's
that's
the guy
Kung
with
Lao.
oh, Kung Lao.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So like Kung Lao and Liu Kang are in this movie, and like they are able to do their special stuff because of Arcana. And
Okay.
all right, I'm gonna do one spoiler thing real fast.
Okay.
I don't know how to time this for anybody. I'm super sorry. But Kato's like laser eyes are Arcana.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like
I've heard also
so
that.
like all the Earth people Arcana, all the outer worlds or other worlds not Arcana.
Okay, there's just some. That's just things they can do.
Yeah, it's like a you unlock it.
Sure. Sure, you have to unlock your
So he
potential.
like yeah, so it's essentially that. It's very much like I like how a lot of like I will use this as like the newer example, like Mulan, like the live action movie. They um they say that like Mulan has a lot of chi and her chi is so
Sure.
strong and that's why she can do all this stuff.
Sure.
But like all chi means is essentially like blood
Yeah.
or like
She's got a lot of
energy.
blood.
So her blood but only boys can have chi, you see.
I
No
see.
girl should have chi that's strong. So girls have weaker blood, obviously.
Well, gender is a construct,
Um,
Shanae, so we're not worried about it.
well, apparently in the Phoenix live action Mulan Chinese, or like Chinese thing, like that's how that works.
Huh.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just like one of those things where I'm like, I did like finish the movie and be like, they never explained what the fuck Arcana really is.
Well, it's a planned multi-part franchise, I think. So maybe in the later
Is it a multi-level marketing scheme?
maybe in the later one. But I have heard that Kano is the best part of this movie.
He's the comic relief. He brings the brevity
Oh.
in the more
Is it
action
is it like
moments, the full
hello
force blood.
baby? I'm Kano.
Yeah,
Like that.
no, I mean like he has like funny lines, but like
Is he Australian?
all the other characters, yes,
Okay.
all the other characters are more serious. All the other characters are serious.
Yeah.
But then he's just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do whatever. I'm Australian. and then when he unlocks his like Arcana with
Yeah.
his laser eyes,
Laser
he's
eye.
like, yeah, I knew I'd be the first person to unlock my Arcana. It's like he's just
Kano
like,
rules, man.
And then I've never played this character, or I don't think I've ever played a game with this character.
Mhm.
But Cabal,
Oh, Cabal is
smoky.
yeah, Cabal. I know Cabal.
He does smoky stuff and has like little thingies. So he's really cool in the movie. I
Yeah.
think he's super cool in the movie. And I've heard a lot of people who are very big fans of the franchise enjoy the way that Cabal was done in some aspects, but still complain about others. Either way, I didn't know who he was. I thought he was super fucking dope.
Yeah. So I remember I was watching the trailer for the movie, and uh so one of the things about Jax, right, is that the origin of his metal arms has changed a few times. So in Mortal Kombat 3, the arms, they were cybernetic implants, like they were placed over his original arms, so his real arms are still under there, right? And then in Mortal Kombat 9, which when they rebooted the lore, a character named Ermac used telekinesis to make his arms explode, and then they replaced them with the metal arms. Okay, now then there's a live action miniseries, web series called Mortal Kombat Legacy. Okay,
Yep.
in that, Jax lost his arms because a grenade exploded behind his back. Okay, and then in this movie, from what I saw, Sub-Zero freezes Jax's arms off. Like they always
Oh
change
my gosh.
it.
I will say Sub-Zero is pretty fucking badass. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of really cool special effects they did with that. They I think all right, I don't want to spoil it. Whenever you watch it, let me know. But
Yeah. I'll probably watch it
so
tonight or tomorrow.
one of the things that like Berto didn't like, which he thought was like besides the plot, but is that they made Reptile an actual like reptile alien thing again instead of it being like a ninja named Reptile.
I mean,
And I know I've seen a lot of people also complain about that, and I just feel like, well, like it adds a different, like a character that can do different stuff, but also like when you think of like casual fans or little kids watching this, I mean, you shouldn't have like a 5-year-old watching this,
sure.
but like the teenagers that are gonna watch this, like that maybe aren't into Mortal Kombat before, like it just brings a difference in there of like who that character is
I
rather than another ninja.
So here's what I think. I think one, Reptile is Reptile. You know, like it's not like he's. I'm not gonna call him a nothing character, but he's kind of like.
Gain of Sub-Zero.
Well, the thing about it is that like it doesn't really matter what he, because like in previous Mortal Kombat's he was a ninja, but at the same time his ninja face was just a mask that he wore over his lizard face. Okay, and then Mortal Kombat 9, I think it was, he was just a full on lizard dude. Like, who gives a shit? It's whatever. But I will say this: the Kano being Australian was a thing that didn't start until the live action Mortal Kombat movie from 1995, right? And then from then on, he was just Australian all the time. Like in the games, he's Australian now. Like because I think, and I'm certain because of that. So I think that whatever these movies turn out to be, like whatever culmination of these movies comes to be, I think that the movies will have some kind of influence on the direction of the games in the future. Like I think that like some of the stuff from the movies is gonna make it into the games just because like I have historical evidence of that having taken place previously. So, we'll see. But I'm excited to watch it.
Empirical evidence.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it though. It's it looked cool. I like I only know one person. I'm only familiar with the dude who plays Sub-Zero. But I've seen his other movies, and all his other movies are dope. So I'm excited.
The guy who plays Jax, I know him from doing Supergirl. He played Jimmy Olsen.
Okay.
Um,
But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it looks like a fun movie, and like just it was like I think this is my stance on like video game movies, comic book movies, or whatever. If it's a fun movie, then just enjoy it. You know, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. Like all the stuff is fake anyway. None of the stuff actually happened. It's fine, right? So just like whatever.
It's not historically accurate. My reptile was not a reptile.
Yeah, he just called himself that, but then he took his face off and he was a reptile. Like, look, if you haven't played Mortal Kombat 2, I invite you to look up to look up Reptile's fatality and watch him take that mask off his gecko head, and it's because then you will see
Gecko head.
like he's got this dumbass gecko head in that game, and then you will see how not big of a deal this is. It's fine.
I'm just imagining the gecko like underneath.
I mean, basically, right? It's basically that, and I think about it like this. It could either be I have a pretty good idea of what he probably looks like in that movie. I haven't looked it up, but based on your description, I have a pretty good idea of how he looks in that movie.
He's CGI.
Yeah.
He's a giant lizard thing.
Well, like but like imagine this, right? Okay, let's say that they did it the way that these other people are saying that they should. Like, you should have just been a ninja. Imagine watching that movie and watching him take his rubber mask off to reveal a lizard head underneath, and how ridiculous that would have been. So
they have there's no mask. I mean, you're right. I'm not gonna say any more to like.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Watch the movie. If any of y'all think that I am wrong, you can tell me why. I won't agree with you, but go ahead.
Like
hit us up on Discord and at me.
A fun movie is a fun movie. At the end of the day, a fun movie is a fun movie, and that's all that should matter.
I'm gonna say I had more fun watching this movie than Godzilla vs. King Kong. I'll tell you that much.
Shanae Howard with the hot takes. Like, everybody's gaga over that movie, so I haven't seen either movie, so I don't know.
I thought the movie was fine. I didn't think it was like super fun.
Yeah.
I liked the first Godzilla more. Or the Godzilla King of the Monsters, not the very first. But this week you did want to talk about something that was not about the games we played or my hot take.
Sure. So last week we talked mostly about questions that we would ask publishers and developers about some questionable decisions that they made around development or marketing or what have you. That was kind of the best term I could think of is a modification of the topic that I had proposed. But I went with it, and it turned out to be a pretty good conversation. So so be it. But what I really wanted to talk about last week though was I wanted to talk about the things that video games have given us, right? The things that our favorite video games have given us, and it's not something direct like, well, they gave me a great game to play. Like, no, I mean like more in like the abstract really, and the ways that like they have positively affected our lives, and so like, and I have a lot of games that I've played over the last 30 years, that really affected me in ways that like I maybe wasn't aware of at the time in every case, but looking back have kind of molded who or molded how I've engaged with this hobby of mine, and also different ways that like these games have spoken to me, I feel, on a very personal level. So I think that I'm going to get this one out of the way because it's probably, I want to get the really heavy one out of the way because I don't want to end it on a heavy note or anything. But okay, so No Man's Sky, which is a game that you guys have heard me talk about many times over the last five years since that game has come out. So I think that when No Man's Sky came out was during probably one of the most difficult times of my life. I was just really depressed, and I was having just the worst time, and I wasn't in a good place mentally. I was like definitely not, and I was really, really bad place emotionally, and like I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I was in a really bleak spot at that point in my life. Like it was just a really, really dark time for me. And No Man's Sky came about kind of when I feel like I needed it the most. And this topic was supposed to be about like talking to these developers and telling them how these games have affected us. And I thought about how I've wanted to like what I would have wanted to say to Hello Games if I had the chance to talk to them. And I feel like that in a few different ways that game kind of saved my life because I when it came out like I couldn't really play it um like in a really dedicated way because like I just had like a lot of shit going on in my head and it was really hard to focus on it. But then
So at launch, it's not the game that it is now, or
well,
even the game it was like 6 months after launch.
yeah, well even still though, right? Like I think that like I think when it first came out, like it was hard for me to focus on just because I just there was so much going on with me, right? And then I like a few weeks after the game came out, um, I was like, you know what, I really need like a distraction. I really need to get away for a little while. And where's the best place to go to get away? Outer space. So that's where I went, right?
Outer space, baby.
And like I think that at that point in my life, I was really just like, I was very much in a what is the point of anything kind of mindset. Um, and that game gave me, I think it helped me reconnect me with the curious part of myself and the part of myself that um, helped me to be inspired, helped me to see wonder in things. And I think that there was a lot of just like kind of getting lost in the game and then just like finding these pockets of happiness with like seeing different planets and seeing like all these little like in even in this part in this stage of that game's development where it what definitely like you said definitely wasn't what it is now. It didn't have as many systems at work. It still had it still got to see all these things that kind of made me it gave me something to look forward to. And it made me feel like, you know what, maybe maybe there is a light at the end of this tunnel, and maybe you know I can find a way forward. And one of the things that No Man's Sky helped me to think about is like the nature of existence and the cost of discovery. And I think about how much it cost me to discover a lot of different things about myself. And but now No Man's Sky has just blossomed into this beautiful, amazing thing. And it's this thing that I share with people that I love. It's this thing that for months and months I shared with my wife, and it's something that that we have connected over many times. It's something that I still connect with people on, and just became this awesome thing they that they have made. And I think about like when that game first came out, and like the controversy and like the whole thing with that whole dust up from the launch of that game, and the response to that game was very much like it read to me like, hey, like this isn't like this isn't the way that we want you to see this. And we want to show you this game the way that we want it, that we meant for you to see it, because we want you to love it as much as we do. That's how the response read to me. And if I could talk to Hello Games now, if I had the chance to like meet them in person and talk to them, I would just tell them like how much this game means to me and how much it's given me. I feel like it helped me to. I feel like in some ways it gave me my life back. I feel like it helped me to be where I am now. Because I think that like I have all this great shit now in my life. You know, I've got a family. You know,
You got a PS5?
I got the PS5. Thanks to you guys, I got to the PS5. Thank you. But no, it's just like it's inspired me, right? And so because of that, like I think that there's always been an ever growing part of me that wanted to uh, create something and give some people something that would make them happy and bring them closer together. And I think that's like been like the core thing behind anything that I've ever made. And I think now that if I were to make something, anything, I'd want it to be I want it to be something that gives to people what Hello Games gave to me when they made No Man's Sky. Um, and yeah, I think that's probably like the most significant like example of a game giving me something. So
Uh, Earlier, in your example, I'm blanking right now. If you can look it up, because I can't, I don't have anything on me to look it up. But the people who developed Divinity 2 Original Sin,
yeah,
um, like me and Berto have been together for a hot minute.
yeah.
It's been 10 years. And
Larian
that is the
Studios.
only
Yeah,
Larian Studios. Yes, it is.
yeah,
They haven't made like a whole bunch, to be honest.
yeah,
If last I looked them up. But that's the first game that like in 10 years that me and Berto have both played like together.
yeah,
Like we're not like you and like your and wife. Like we're into very different games, and I he doesn't enjoy the way that I play games. I don't enjoy the way that he plays games.
sure.
And like we've tried RPGs, we've tried other stuff, and it's just like it doesn't really work out. But like Divinity, it's so well made. It's like I've said it before, but it is like D&D, like became a video game, and it's the only it's the game video game I feel like is the most similar to D&D, and
Right.
like which is the ability to play however you want. And I would and like I think I've mentioned before when I was really into the game, you know, they have all these things called gift bags that people have made. They've like made it part of the game as far as like mods go. And I don't know, I just like I think that that would be a really interesting team to talk to about like how well produced it is, like their thoughts on like from the writers when they were making it, how they feel about all the way that people break their game
Yeah.
and still have super a lot of fun with it. Like I think I told you, like somebody like put all their stats in telekinesis,
Right.
and they just kept putting trunks inside of trunks until something was like 3,000 pounds, and they're just demolishing people with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they made that into the game. Like there has to be some idea behind it.
Right.
And I just like I all the fandom, everybody that is in it, like they just I mean I get into a lot of fandoms. Like I talk about like quite often like a good fandom will make me into a game better
Yeah.
or into a game more.
Sure. Yeah.
And I it's just it's a slightly different feel to the Divinity Original Sin like fandom than any other ones that I'm into. Probably because it's not as massive as the other ones that I've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
But I just think it would be super interesting. I want to know where their like references are for like some of the character designs, because like some of them really bother me, but other ones I absolutely love. And I just want to know like why do the elves' stomach have those lines? I fucking
Who
hate it.
who,
Why?
who are
Why did
those
you put these
people?
there?
Those lizard people with the long necks? Who are they?
I heard the name of it, but it's like the Red Prince is
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
default character for that. Um, I think I mean that's all super interesting. Like you meet the like princess, and there's like a whole prophecy around him,
Yeah.
and then like in the very beginning, and when you're in that camp or on like that island, like you meet like the dreamer, and like the whole like them going into these dream realm things is very interesting. All the ideas by the gods, like I mean, of course, they had the first game, but like, I just really want to know where some of these things like really came from, because it's just like this is the D&D game that I want to play. Like,
Right.
can I have a campaign book of your shit? Like, what? I
Yeah.
know y'all have made some, and I think on there just because like I do think that they would be a really interesting group, but I also just like I want to know what it is about that game that both me and him who have like he is very competitive.
Yeah.
He is he's very apparently very much like you. He doesn't go and check out every box in
Yeah.
any RPG. He doesn't go and like any like explore anything. And I'm like, hey, but I was exploring and I found like a million gold.
That's exactly
Why would you why would
that
you
is
not explore?
exactly what my wife says, because she'll be like, I mean, you don't like to explore stuff, but look how much more money I have than you. I'm like, okay, I got it. I get
Yeah, I it's just like it he hates it and he'll just like sit there and wait for me.
Yeah.
And so like I try to free it up and then I feel rushed and then or like and then like I winning doesn't mean that I that's the only way I have fun.
Sure.
Like I don't like I can easily lose every single match of like Halo or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't find it fun like whenever I'm playing against like a team that's like at least like for like shooters and stuff like that. Playing against a team that's like really good at the game and I can't move, like I just instant kill over and over and over again. Yeah, that's frustrating. But like if you guys like want to compete against each other and I'm gonna go like run around and see if I can hop over this flower, like I'm gonna go do
Yeah.
that. Like, and I'm gonna have just as much fun even if the team loses. I'm gonna and like it's just like it's just no, if he's not winning, he's not having fun.
Sure.
And and it's really funny because he plays WoW, so it's so funny hearing him get mad after like raids and stuff. And
Sure. Yeah.
sometimes you're, I'm like, sometimes your team just wipes. Like
Yeah.
it just happens. Like it just happens every like over and over again for 4 hours. It's just, it's what it is, dude. Like I don't know. Like it's just I want to know more about that game and the thought process to see if I can find more similar things that maybe me and him can find like an understanding on.
Yeah.
Because like it's been really exciting to play like up until his graphics card broke. But it's been really exciting being able to play games with
Yeah.
him and us like we played like the Phantom game, we played like a Fall Guys together now and then, but like at least with like those we can't play them all the time, nor do we want to. This is the first like real game. I don't know. I think that team's very interesting. They don't have a lot of games in their history, and I just want to know where all their backgrounds came from to collaborate.
Yeah. And it's funny, right? Because like I think about like other games that are like that, where they give you so much freedom to kind of just ultimately play the game the way that you want to play the game. Like they don't try to like shoehorn you into playing the game a very like their specific way. And I've always found games like that fascinating. Like I was talking to somebody about Minecraft recently, and I was thinking about like how many developers do you think have been created because like by Minecraft? You know, like how many people do you think like played Minecraft and was like, you know what, I want to do this. I want to make games, right? And like I think about Minecraft too, like in the way that like it's that game, like they don't tell you how to play the game. You know, like you can like the game. Like I remember I played that game like as a farming sim for like 3 weeks, just because like that's all I wanted to do, and I wanted to grow shit. You know, and so like thinking about like you playing Divinity and like you exploring and finding different ways to interact with the game and kind of different ways to kind of make the systems work in a way that makes the game more fun for you is really cool.
Yeah, I
Let you
like
practice that
I like
creativity.
it. Oh yeah, no, there's a bunch of things that he's like, I had no idea this was here.
Yeah.
And it was because it was like me being like, "Hey, I want to get to this ledge. I see that I can step on this ledge. We have teleport. What skills do we have? What scrolls do we got?
Yeah.
Okay, we got 15 teleports. All right, we're going from here to here to here. And then you gotta
Yeah.
push me up there, and then I'll use my little teleport thing, and it'll bring you up there with me. And
Yeah.
then we go, and then I'm like, "Hey, there's an entire area over here." He's like, "I had no idea that area was there." I was like, "Yeah, he's gonna jump around, man."
Yeah,
And
like
so I think that's also I think part of the reason that he also enjoyed it is because he's played it before, so it
yeah.
wasn't like he was like, "Oh, I want to get to the next thing."
Yeah.
And and he hadn't played it with some of the expansion and like gift bag things on there, like the deal, not DLC, but mods or addition. I guess some of it's DLC,
Right.
but yeah. So I don't know. I can't think of any other game that really hits the mark the way it does. Because
Sure.
like even though some people may argue there's like optimized builds, there's no optimized builds.
Right.
There's nothing like that.
Yeah. Well, because I think that if there were, that kind of detracts from the idea of playing the game that you want to play it, right, and creating the kind of character that you want to create, right? And I think balancing the game in a way that like doesn't punish you for like creating this character class that you thought up and just kind of just like lets you go with it is probably just the best way to go.
I mean, or being so unbalanced, it's still fun.
Right. Like because I think there's definitely something to be said about like finding ways to break a game, right? And just making yourself like more powerful as a result of it. Um,
Can you still have fun and play this entire game when you've broken it?
yeah.
Awesome. Then it's a well made
Yeah.
well made break. And I don't know, and I think that's like I just I can't imagine that every all the different ways to break that game and make things like work in different ways just wasn't intentional.
Sure. I think they probably I'm sure there's like they accounted for that possibility, right? Where like it's like if you give people this much if you make this game so free form in design and give people this much flexibility and freedom with the characters that they create, then at some point someone is going to find a way to put all those things together in the right way to just make themselves like just completely unbalance the game, and it's fine, right? Because as long as whoever is doing it is having fun, then what's the harm?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man, I could definitely see that, and like especially for someone like you who has like a large enthusiasm for like tabletop gaming, like pen and paper gaming, like being able to put that in because I've never played a game of D&D in my entire life, but I'm willing to wager that it's a lot easier to spin up Divinity 2 than to get people together for a D&D game. So,
But it's also like you can't play if you have any history of playing D&D or Pathfinder or pen and paper tabletop games. There's just no way that you can play Divinity and not feel like and not see where obviously some of the references are from there when it comes to the ideas and things that you can do.
right.
And I just give me those reference notes, man. I just
Yeah. So if you could take like that stuff from like their rule book or what have you from Divinity, you would want to like craft your own kind of tabletop experience with that.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Like, I mean, or if like, if someone, because I imagine some of them probably have to have like homebrewed stories.
Yeah.
Because there's like you can buy the campaign books with like them, or you can make your own homebrewed stuff with like the set rules. And I just feel like there's got to be some prototypes or some other stories for like the characters they made and also the game itself. And if they want to give me like those notes,
Sure.
and then I will make a tabletop game based off of them, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I also just like would love to know because I mean there has to be books that are references. I mean, there's a lot of things in there that aren't like genre redefining.
Right.
But they're just done in such interesting ways where you want to replay the game so you can play each character, so you
Right.
can see each thing. I love that like when you're in Divinity, your character has like a god that you're like the champion for them or antagonist. I guess it
Yeah.
depends on the character.
Yeah.
But like yeah, like it's the relationship each character has with their god is different. Like it's just all so well done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that one of those games that like make you feel that way, right? The games that make you feel like it's rare for me, right? Where I play a game where I'm just like I'm feeling like joy playing this, right? Like actual joy. Like
Am I happy?
well, like it's different, right? It's like because there's games where you're entertained, and then there's that rare game where you're like actively happy while you're playing it. And so it's like it's really like really like it's really important when game when you get a hold of a game like that. And that because it's happened really rarely for me, right? Like there are many games that have entertained me, but very few games where I'm just like sitting there like smiling like an idiot the whole time. Um,
Or it's like a good portion of the time because I imagine that's you with Persona, especially this last one.
oh man. So like I read something on Reddit that was just like I've learned that like if someone like if someone tells you that they just finished their first Persona game, then you got to cut them some slack because they're going through some shit. And that's how I felt. Like I just like
Oh
moped
man.
around for like a few days. It's just like
I mean, there's a reason that the first time I finished Persona 5, I immediately started New Game Plus.
yeah,
Because I was like, I'm not done. I'm not ready to
yeah,
give this up. I'm not like so I played I think a good like portion like halfway through on the New Game Plus and then I dropped that. But yeah, no, I wasn't ready.
yeah,
I wasn't ready.
yeah. And I've got Persona 5 Strikers like sitting there like just because I'm saving it for like when I really start to miss them. I'm saving it for like when it gets to be too much and I want to go on a new adventure with them. But
But after finishing this, I might hit up more Shin Megami Tensei games and
yeah,
Persona games and like just because I do like that series. I like other games. I also really want to find a way to play Third Birthday,
yeah.
but I don't know.
There's a
I mean, I know Third Birthday is Square, not like Atlas. I was just saying like
yeah,
once I finish Persona, like in the same genre.
yeah. So there is a which one is it? I think it's Devil Summoner. Uh,
Well, there's Devil, Digital Devil Saga, Digital Survivor, and then
yeah.
Summoner.
So not Devil. It was actually Nocturne. So Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne is got an HD remaster for the PS4. So I have it for PS2, but now, I mean now it's got trophies. So
Now I can be graded on how good I am.
yeah.
Uh,
So
I think it's super funny that you've got turned to this like trophy hunter.
well, like that's all my wife's doing, right? Like cause she, I told you, like we played Ghost of Tsushima, and she was like, I'm gonna get the platinum in this, and I was like, you know what, me too. And then I just kept doing it. Now I just do that now. Uh,
I know it's very cute, especially the fact that you both do it together.
yeah, but she always her trophy's always first. I don't know. I don't know.
It's because she's always poked around and like gone to off areas and like figured out how those things work.
Yeah, I guess. She just I don't know. She's got like she's more focused than I am with that stuff. But I'm just like I don't know. I don't know. She's just really good at it. But um, it's funny though because like uh she talked to me about because the version of Persona 5 that she played through is the same one that you initially played through is the vanilla version, and she was
The
talking
OG.
yeah she was talking to me about how like she couldn't like it kind of for a while it kind of ruined other games for her, and like that's what happened to me. Like I like for a few days like I was like I don't want to play anything. I want to forget Persona 5 and then go through that again. That's what I want to do.
I because it uh man, and then like the fact that like none of that, or at least none of the word, I don't know any of the words to them, but like all the songs are so catchy, but like
Oh
I
yeah,
can't sing them. So I just like there's like times where I just like have like the little beat in my head while I'm
sure.
at work and I'm just typing and it's like dun, 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 dun. Uh, and like I've uh and like I've booted up games where I'm just like I don't want to listen to this. I want to go back to Persona
Well, like
after I played it the
I'm
first
starting to
time.
I'm starting to feel that
Uh,
spark again with Final Fantasy 15, like because like it's not an equal replacement, right? But like I'm back with my boys.
but they're your
Yeah,
boys.
I'm back with
They're
my
your
boys.
boys. You
It's kind of
love
like
those boys.
so I just like I think that the best way to describe how I felt after Persona 5 was like I felt like I just went through a breakup, right? And so every breakup that I've gone through, like I hang out with my boys, and while I'm hanging out with my boys, I feel better, right? And that's like I'm hanging out with Noctis, Ignis, Gladiolus, and Prompto, and like they're helping me feel better. But when they're not around though, I kind of get sad again. But uh, it is what it is. But yeah, that's kind of like I think that I think you know in closing, I think that like it is important. I think to find uh, to find that thing that speaks to you, in a way that it,
Kano's Australian accent.
yeah. Hello, baby. Um, it's great. I love Kano's accent. It's just so funny. But like no, but like to find things that speak to you and like inspire you. And it doesn't even have to be video games, right? It could like be a book or music or movies or anything, right? Just like find something that
Or
like,
a YouTube channel.
or a YouTube channel. Like just find something that inspires you and makes you feel, that makes you feel better in a way that maybe you didn't know you needed. And I think that a lot of people are trying to. I think that with the way that we consume entertainment, I think that a lot of people are like looking for something that makes them feel that gives them some kind of substantial, kind of emotional feedback. Because I think that like we stream stuff and then like we binge shows and then we look at, or we thumb through like social media sites or whatever, and we're looking for something to, on one hand, like we're just in the short term we're looking for entertainment, I think, right? But like I think that long term, like the better investment is the seeking out of something that makes you feel like really, like makes you feel like more in touch with something that maybe you hadn't, that maybe a part of yourself that you've neglected for a while. um and it's important to find those things and then not only cherish them and hold on to them, but to spread them to, like, spread the word about those things to other people and let them know about it, because maybe you might be helping someone else out. You might be giving that to someone else and not realizing it.
But also, like, it, you talking about things that you love and sharing them, whether the person ends up being like it or not, it still gives your brain those hits of dopamine.
Yeah.
And also, it might, and with that being positive thinking, whether they end up liking the same thing you do or not, it is like a reminder to those around you to also like think about the things that they enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Positivity, bringing positivity, or positivity. I don't say bringing. I had a better word. It wasn't begets positivity, but whatever. It's not important.
Well, like there are studies that have shown that happiness spreads in a similar way to a virus, right? And when you bring happiness to other people and when you bring happiness into a situation, then that spreads to other people, and then they will in turn spread that to other people. And I think finding things that make people happy and bring them together are like super important, especially in a time where people are so disparate and so divided by, a lot of different things, either ideologies or bullshit opinions about pop culture or what have you. I think,
Income.
yeah, income, which is like the big one, especially in this country. But I think that finding things that like make people happy and bring them together and help them to connect over things like that is really just, that's the move, and that's what I think is going to give us longevity as, like, I don't know, like as a species. But that's just what I think. Either way,
And opposable thumbs.
and opposable thumbs, we need those, because without them, we are no longer apex predators and we become prey. But that's it. That's those are my thoughts. Thank you for indulging me.
Of course. Thanks for letting me just really talk about a game I love again too.
Yeah, and I think honestly, like, I think that there's more room for that. I think there's like, cause like it's nice to have things that you're excited about, right? It's nice to like be enthusiastic about things and like be happy about things, like, and
You know,
to have people be a sounding board for that feels really good.
that's facts. But yeah, was there any besides you love love and positivity good, play No Man's Sky, get us into
Yeah,
curiosity.
yeah,
If you are married, play Divinity 2.
yeah. It will save your marriage, I promise.
It's just gonna be a nice fun hobby that both of you are gonna enjoy,
Yeah.
weirdly.
Yeah.
Uh where no game is done before. But if you guys want to listen to us on anything else that you're other than you're currently listening to, we're on We are on Instagram, but
Sure.
we are on YouTube. We're
Yep.
on those podcast apps,
Yep.
like the Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. We also have a Discord if you want to come at me and tell me about why Mortal Kombat is awful and why I'm wrong.
Sure.
Um, like I said, I won't listen well, I mean, I'll listen. I just won't agree with you. Uh, and bye, guys.
Bye.